My name's Butch Holden. I'm a professor of visual arts here at Bemidji State University. I teach in the art department. My courses include ceramics, the visual foundations courses, occasionally sculpture, drawing courses. Part of what I do is I make art. That's part of my job description. I'm an artist, and these are the works that I've produced for this show called Around the Block. My first ideas of Around the Block probably happened when I was a little kid. I moved from northeast Minneapolis to the suburbs, Golden Valley, and going around the block was going to be my biggest adventure because I wasn't allowed to as a small 4 or 5-year-old. I had to hold my parents' hands or my brother's hand, older brother. But to go around the block, that was so great. But going around the block is kind of an oxymoron. You're going around, and it's a block. And it bothered me as a kid that those two things were what we were doing all the time, whether we were on bicycle or on foot or a scooter, going around the block. It was an adventure, and making the show was an adventure, dealing with the circle, the sphere, the cylinder, the block, the cube, the square. This is the first one, number 1, and it is a diamond shape that is a square tipped on its edge. It has softened considerably because of the glaze melting. It's a liquid glass on top of liquid glass, so it almost looks like you're looking into a pool. But there are squares, little diamonds repeated over and over again. And so the surface of this gets the idea of square. Progressing to number 3, this is a different strategy, cutting the shape of the bowl to be a hexagon, and by glazing it to look like a cube. I'm building blocks. These are baby blocks, very similar to what a quilter would use in a quilt. My wife is a quilter, so I've seen this before. But in ceramics, it's a little strange because there's a three-dimensional quality here. And because of the glare on some of this glossy glaze, some people even think it's going the other direction, that it's actually an outie rather than an innie. This particular piece, the 7th one, a lot of people have seen these bowls arranged on the wall, and they like the colors, and some people comment on the triangles. And I've had quite a few people that even their second or third trip in hadn't seen the cube, that there's a three-dimensional cube in here. I was quite taken with this solution to number 7 as well, that it's an odd number, and yet I got the square as a cube represented in this piece. The arrangement of bowls is the outer circle, and inside the gallery I have an inner circle of freestanding pottery on pedestals, and they individually deal with a circular cylindrical pot with squares and rectangles both in the surface and some of the shapes. There's another thing that I wanted to get across, and that was the idea of seeds, pods, bulbs, layered forms, earthiness, and they are swelling, they're getting bigger, and eventually they bloom. And so the bowls are open forms like flowers on the walls, and the inner circle is more like seeds or bulbs. I'm often asked what's with all the hoops and strings in this exhibition, and to me they're like a scream against the rectangular shapes, squares that are in this room. There are literally thousands of them, and the pots are circular, and these hoops and parabola made by strings hanging are also references to another kind of world rather than the grid. It's the circle. There's a sense of design that is round and circular and spherical and actually kind of random with these hoops in here, but there's also a very strong sense of order, that things are arranged at a 56-inch level, eye level. And there's levels to the pedestals, there's levels to the benches, there's dots on the floor that make us aware that the floor is a level. It reminds me of ripples on water or fairy rings, things that grow. The hoops, to me, I can't help but think of the flowers that I grow on them at home, or the hops, or the scarlet runner beans that go nuts on a vine that could go this tall. To me, this is a way of bringing together a lot of different passions in one room. It's my story.